Browns against the Steelers. Nick, who wins and by how much?
Cleveland wins by 4. Cleveland by 4. I say they're up. The way I think this thing's going to be going, they're up 11 points. Maybe the Pittsburgh gets a late touchdown, cut it to 4. Tries an onside kick, doesn't get it. Baker Mayfield takes knees. That's in my mind's eye the way this game ends. Cleveland by 4.
That was very imaginative. I'm just going to keep it simple and say Browns by 6.
Okay.
I think, somebody's going to miss an extra point and mess it all.
Oh, imaginative as well. I like that.
Can I jump in and Fox bet something?
Absolutely.
I Fox bet the Browns will lose.
Well, this is the Super 6, but that's fine. Jenna's got Steelers. Jenna, I'll do a little stick figure for Jenna
Fox bet something.
She's got
Browns losing.
She's got the Steelers.
There we go.
Before the game, that looks just like me. Before the games kick off on Sunday, download the Fox Sports Super 6 app. Play for free for a chance to win $250,000 of Terry Bradshaw's money. All right, switching gears, time for stories to start your morning, and it will be a long morning for Cowboys fans. All the turmoil surrounding Jason Garrett culminating in a 26-15 loss to the Buffalo Bills yesterday. Despite taking the L, Jerry Jones says he's sticking with Jason Garrett for the season. Nick, is that the right move?
Nope. There's no reason to do it. There's none whatsoever. Jerry Jones is keeping the illusion alive that the Cowboys could rally to make the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, much less the playoffs. If it were ever going to be reality, which it's not, they would need some facts on the ground to change. The only facts on the ground that could change is the head coach, but they're not even going to change that. So, yeah, it's the wrong move. I don't understand it.
I mean, just the camera in on the booth from Jerry at the beginning of the game, clapping, and then at the end of the game, just looking dejected. Yeah, I think we're seeing a beaten man right now. He's out of moves. He don't know what to do other than calling Bill Parcells back, Dez Bryant, and Antonio Brown. It's a wrap. Wrap it up, B. Go ahead and get those U-Hauls. Get those U-Hauls ready, Jason Garrett, because you moving on to the upper room.
On to yesterday's action now. Saints improved to 10-2 with a 26-18 win over Atlanta. Big game from do-everything backup quarterback / running back / wide receiver Taysom Hill. Caught a touchdown, ran for a touchdown. Didn't he block a punt?
Blocked a punt as well.
Nick, could the Saints be the best team in the NFC?
Of course they could. You could make an argument they've been the best team in the NFC the last 3 years.
Yeah.
They're the Minneapolis Miracle away from playing Philadelphia 2 years ago. Last year they had the Rams beat, and the bad call goes against them. And every win is so critical for New Orleans. They've only lost one home playoff game ever since Sean Payton and Drew Brees have been together, and that was the game last year that was, some would argue, taken from them unfairly by the officials. They are now still alive for that 1 seed in the NFC, especially because they host San Francisco, the team currently the 1 seed, next week. New Orleans can beat you so many different ways. Right now, they look like the best team in the NFC to me.
They got so much scheme versatility. You talk about what you can do, and that guy right there, Taysom Hill, makes them elite. The fact that he can be able to impact your special teams, that he can be your quarterback, he can be a wildcat quarterback, he can be your H-back / tight end. Somewhere along the near future, in the next 2 or 3 years, somebody's going to take a chance on giving this young man the opportunity to be a starting quarterback, much like we saw with Cordell Stewart, and we're going to see if he really has what it takes to be just a quarterback and not a / Swiss Army knife.
Before we move on, early in the year, you caught a lot of crap for saying the Saints had 2 quarterbacks better than Dak Prescott, Drew Brees and Teddy Bridgewater. Want to up the ante and say 3? You want to do it, Bart?
I would say 3, and I'm thankful for you putting me on the record, because when we wind back that wonderful beam footage, we see that Bart Scott's always right. Blado, a.k.a. Barstradamus.
My God.
All right, Baker and the Browns looking to keep the momentum going Sunday against the Steelers. They've won 3 in a row to claw back into the playoff picture. Nick, you like Cleveland's chances on Sunday?
I do. Listen, playoffs have essentially already started for Cleveland. They've got 1 loss to play with the rest of the season, maybe, but it can't be to Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh's one of the teams they're chasing. They beat Pittsburgh. They didn't get the winless Bengals, and then at Arizona, a live Arizona team, but they have a viable path to 8-6 heading to their home game against Baltimore in Week 16. A loss for Pittsburgh here would really stunt whatever momentum they had been building. Yeah, I think they can win. I think they will win. And I think this comes down to Week 17 with the Browns fighting with whoever is going to finish second in the AFC South for that final playoff spot.
I believe so as well, man. When you look at their record, Cincinnati, everything you alluded to, Arizona, Cincinnati again. And also, if they get into playoffs, this is a dangerous football team because you get that new lease on life, and with the running game with Hunt and Chubb being able to salt games away, that's what you need when you want to win in November and December / the playoffs. It's about being able to salt games away. Most games come down to, can you convert 4th and 1, or can you defend 4th and 1? And they have defensively playmakers on both sides of the ball, and Baker's starting to play a lot better.
All right, now on to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers trying to right the ship after getting destroyed by the 49ers in Week 12. Lucky for them, there are calm seas ahead in Sunday's matchup against the 2-9 Giants. Just don't tell the Giants that. But Aaron Rodgers knows it's on him to turn things around. Take a listen.
We're right in the mix where we want to be, playing meaningful games in December. But I think we got to play a little bit better going forward if we want to get to where we want to go. This team has obviously a lot of goals. It starts with the North, and everything kind of opens up from there. The key is for us is we're going to obviously have to stay healthy, but we got to play a little bit better on all three phases. Offensively, I got to take the lead and get hot in December here. We got to start finding ways to get the ball to our guys all the time.
Nick, from what you've seen out of Aaron Rodgers this season, you expect him to suddenly get hot and make a Super Bowl run?
I think they absolutely can. They were my Super Bowl pick, and through 11 weeks, I had hoped they'd be 9-2. They are 8-3. Going into the game last week in San Francisco, I obviously foolishly believed they could win. Not only did they not win, they got annihilated, and I still believe they can make a Super Bowl run. I think they have to avoid San Francisco on their path. They've got a bully that they can't beat up, but there's another kid on the block that maybe can, and they can maybe beat that kid up. So they need that guy to take care of their guy, and then they try to take care of him. But the question about Rodgers is the incumbent one, because Aaron Rodgers turns 36 years old in a couple days, and we have been much like the example I've used is Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade were maybe led astray a bit by how great LeBron was in years 14, 15, 16, 17, changed what their realistic expectations of where they should have been in their careers those years. Tom Brady winning an MVP at age 40. Drew Brees, nearly winning the MVP last year, I believe at age 39, changed all of our expectations, pardon me, all of our expectations for how good quarterbacks are going to be in their late 30s. Ben Roethlisberger's elbow popped. Eli Manning got benched. Phillip Rivers is clearly on his way out. Aaron Rodgers, just a couple draft classes behind those guys, right? Now, he didn't start.
He sat
a few years, and so I think he's fresher, and I don't think he is that close to the end. But is he still in his prime? When they made the coaching change, Bart, we said you've got to make the most that you have of Aaron Rodgers' prime. You got to make the most of what's left of it.
Yeah.
Is there any left of it? I think there is. I think he shows it over the rest of the season. They're going to be favored in 4 of their final 5 games. The only game they'll be an underdog is at Minnesota, a team they've already beaten. But Aaron Rodgers has played very well this year. He needs to play great if they're going to offset some of their deficiencies in run defense, some of their other deficiencies on the team, if they're going to compete with a team as complete as New Orleans, if they're going to have any chance to upset San Francisco if they play them again. So I still think they can. I'm not going to change my Super Bowl pick. Yeah. But the reason I picked them was because I thought Aaron Rodgers would be league MVP this year. He hasn't played quite to that level. He needs to over the final third of the season.
See, I picked Green Bay to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl as well, and it was because I thought that finally they're doing something to preserve his prime, right? We saw you talk about Tom Brady. Well, what did they do? They got him a running game, and we all, kind of blinked the eye at it. That they brought in Sony Michel. They went out and got another left tackle, and Isaiah Wynn. And then also we witnessed this with Drew Brees as well. So now we're in the era of load management. So what did they essentially do for Aaron Rodgers this year? They gave him load management. They gave him a defense so he didn't have to put it all on his shoulders. They gave him a running game in Aaron Jones that can, all he has to do is turn around and hand the ball off, and all he has to do is be special in spurts. So is Aaron Rodgers still capable of being a elite MVP caliber quarterback? Of course he can. I feel like they finally put a team around there that can complement, what he does, and also gave him a defense where it is not all on him for 16 games. He'll become Superman again, I believe, in the playoffs when he puts himself at risk. He's been injured the last couple of years. He's finally healthy because they're protecting him with a run game.
So what makes you think he could be that MVP caliber kind of quarterback again?
Because he doesn't have to do it consistently, right? We saw Drew Brees last year trying to do too much. He got a tired arm, and he couldn't throw the ball in the playoffs. he's still Aaron Rodgers. He still can buy time with his legs. He still does the little things that all great quarterbacks do. Change his rhythm at the line of scrimmage. Great hard count. Catch you changing in personnels, getting free plays, cheap plays. You know, it's not always about the physical part. It's about when these quarterbacks get to that Jedi type of mindset, it's when the body and mind meets. And that's what makes them so difficult, because they do the different things. Their football acumen, his football IQ is so high. And, you know, it's just like you said, the bully beat the bully. They can't beat San Francisco because just stylistically it's not a great matchup. But they can beat New Orleans, who's not as physical.
And New Orleans might be able to beat San Francisco.
New Orleans
or Seattle could beat San Francisco.
Exactly, and then they're capable of beating those teams. So we always have that one team that's just a bad matchup for us. It's only, the good thing is there's only one, and not the rest of the NFC/the NFL.
And lastly, the other reason that I believe in the Packers and Rodgers' ability to be the guy he was a few years ago is that when we talk about quarterbacks not having a bunch